Let's go through why you want to hit the low stinger, and especially in these conditions in the wind, and why it's a shot you feel comfortable with.
I grew up, where I grew up in the States, the wind blew a lot, so I learned to hit the ball low on the ground. I try to keep it out of the wind, keep it out of trouble. Now, this is a little different over here because, one, the ball goes a lot farther than it does back in the States. We get this thing rolling over here. I can hit this thing well over 300 yards rolling, but you gotta watch out for the bunker. So control is a big deal. But for me, it's a simple shot because it's a shorter swing for me. I move the ball slightly back in my stance, so I open my stance to compensate for the ball going back. And then really the only thing I think about is I try to keep the logo of my glove at the target as long as I can. And fortunately, I've hit this a long time. When I grew up, I used to put alignment sticks out there, and I tried to knock alignment sticks out just to work on control. But
do you do anything different in your weight setup, more on the left side, or
I try to
normal?
Sit down a little bit more.
Yeah, I like that. This is a good tip for you. If you're going to hit a low shot in the wind, and he said it perfectly, feel like you drive your weight into your rear end and then into the heels of your feet, and allows you to stay in that position better.
You might have told me that once or twice before.
Is that low enough for you? Did you see that?
So, Gary, that's a shot that you feel like just takes all of the variables out, get it on the ground running as quickly as possible, and you feel like you can carry that how far?
Carry is a little different. I probably only carry it around 230, but I can roll. I mean, it's going to roll over 300 yards. And for me, when the wind's blowing into my face, I hit this farther than I hit a 3-wood, just because it stays under the wind and gets rolling on the ground.
Now, if you have to hit one, hit the high one where you feel like if it was downwind, you could ride the wind.
And this, I'm just going back to the normal deal, moving the ball back up, squaring up the stance. And swinging up on it a little bit more.
There we go. Now, Gary, we know that he analyzes your game a lot and gives you a lot of constructive criticism. We're going to go ahead and look at the screen over here. I want you to go ahead and analyze this.
Oh, my God.
What do you think about that?
That's the number 2, the one I've seen this week, so he's getting better. I mean,
what do you think the count for ice creams will be this week?
Over and under 12.
12. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going over.
I'm taking the over.
Okay, so here we've got a right to left wind. It isn't very strong, but let's imagine it's a bit stronger than it is. And you'd like to hold one into the wind. In other words, put a bit of fade spin on it to bring it down softly on the green. Just explain and demonstrate for us how you would do that.
Well, for the folks at home, there's a few different dynamics that go into a shape of a shot. But the main thing everybody has to think about is, assuming the face is square at impact, all you have to do is make sure your club pat is left of your face. So as long as you're going left of your face, that ball is going to spin up to the right. So depending how much, like if you're going around the 3 on a golf course, you would actually pull quite a bit across the ball, and that would give you the big slice. So you will notice, so if I was going around the 3, which would be quite easy, not going to have a 3 in a links course, I would pull very hard across it, and I get that big slice. That's pretty much like most amateurs drive. They pull too much.
It's a bit mean. You've got a lot of good amateurs behind you here.
Yes, but...
Okay.
So that's a big slice. It's easy to do. But at this level, we're basically trying to hit nearly all our shots. We're trying to put enough slice on a right to left wind to keep it straight. So the way I do that is a little bit... I prepare for a slice. So I'll actually take a few practice swings, exaggerating how much I'm across the ball. And then I'll actually just stand there and hit a neutral shot, and hopefully I've built a bit of fade into it, which you have nicely.
Beautifully held against that little right to left wind. Again, that would move on the wind unless you'd put that little bit of cut spin.
Again, the difference for us is we're obviously trying to, our fades, we're trying to be minimal with how much we're not. If we were trying to hit that big cut, it's easy. It's pretty easy to hit the big cut when you're coming out of the trees. But to hit the little fade is the harder shot.
OK, let's see the opposite scenario now. So we've got a strong wind off the left, and you'd like to turn the ball from right to left to fight it.
Very simple again. And this, if you're at home watching this and you hit that big slice off the tee, every practice swing you should take should be inside to out. Exaggerate, way inside to out. If you don't want to slice the ball, the more you swing away from your body off your right hip like this will cause a hook. And after a few weeks, well, depends. After a while, you'll end up with a hook and you won't like me very much. But again, if my swing is neutral, you will see I'm trying to hit a draw. I'll just take a few casual swings, exaggerate how much I'm swinging out past. And look, my club face is shut. I'm swinging way out to the right. Then when I get over the ball, I don't think about much. In the toe there, it was a bit quick.
You're pretty good at this game, aren't you?
Yeah, I can do it, yeah.
You can do it.
One of the things that we always hear over here at the Open Championship is the players want to try and keep their ball out of the air and out of the wind and keep it low to the ground. So why don't you go ahead and hit us a shot? You've got a 6-iron there. Anything that you're going to do differently if you're going to try and flight it a little bit lower, kind of into the wind, or kind of keep it underneath the wind?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I do is basically from general setup. A lot of guys that, you saw some of the greats in the past, use their hands and try and flatten it out, but a lot of mine is done just from general setup, just to try and make it easier. So as the club comes in, obviously there's already a little bit less loft. You've already preset that at address, and then in an ideal world, there's not really much manipulation.
So a little bit of ball position,
a little bit of ball position, a little bit of change. Again, the old adage of swinging it smoother. Obviously, the harder you hit it, the more spin you're going to put on, the higher it's going to go into the breeze. And
so if you were going to take a 6-iron, it would be a situation where maybe normally you would be taking a little bit different club, and you're just going to take that little extra and just flight it down?
This is in out the right 6-iron. If we hit a nice shot, I like to call it like a P5, hands at the shoulders, would probably only go 55, 60, maybe 65, if you really get it. But you start to try and hit it a great deal more than that. I hit a 6-iron 190 yards. So you start to try and hit a full one, it's not going to go very far because it's going to balloon up and obviously go there. So again, a lot of it is obviously pace shots, and then it's working out which ball flight you can hit a pace shot easy. Some guys hit like a little clip draw to keep the flight down. Some guys are able to do it by hitting a little fade. So mine is, in an ideal world, I try and hit like a little bullet fade that's obviously done pretty well recently, over the last few years, and then try and then control your numbers, and you see the guys with trackmans and you work out how far that's going to go.
All right, so go ahead and hit one for a little bit change in the ball position.
A little bit of change in the ball position. Again, one of the things that I think a few guys can try is actually stance width. It's a lot harder to hit it flatter when you're wider. So you actually see a lot of guys, Ricky does it great. Actually, if your stance is narrower, it actually enables the upper body to actually move a little bit quicker.
And that's
on the
a little
lower
bit different than what we would have taught in the past. Back in the day, we talked about having a much wider setup for the wind to have a little bit more stability.
Yeah.
But I think if the wind isn't really, really moving you around, like you said, with the little bit more narrow stance and a little bit shift of the ball position, it can help that chest kind of move.
Yeah, I mean, you look
through
at how the guys pitch, really great pitchers. You never see a really great pitcher with a wide stance. It's very narrow, and therefore, obviously, because if it's narrow, your ball position doesn't feel like it's changing much, but obviously in relation to your sternum, you can change it quite a lot without doing a massive.
So optically, it doesn't feel like it's so far back.
It doesn't feel like you're wide and your ball's back here. So, mine would be a little bit narrower. And again, because I'm trying to hit a little bullet fade, you'd almost exaggerate it and aim a little bit further open purely because of face and path alignment. And then you go ahead and try and swing it really nice and smooth. Pace cup-ish. But again, that's only going to go, maybe 55, 60. But again, if you actually, I've done it on a TrackMan. If you try and hit it a full 6-iron, you probably only hit it 7, 8 yards further, and then you lose a little bit of the directional control because of the added spin that you put in.
The wind is coming really strong into and out the left-hand side. How would you go about picking what sort of shots to play? Bunker on the left, bunker on the right?
Straightaway hole.
Yeah, straight away.
Well, it depends if I can carry the bunker or not, right?
You can't. It's a really deep one as well.
Okay. If the wind's in out the left, I'd like to shape it into it. And if it's a fairway finder, it's going to be a lower flight.
Right.
So we can't carry the bunkers. We've got to just hit it down the middle. So for me, it's ball back a little bit, my stance a little bit open, hit a low trap draw and hit the fairway.
Sounds great, doesn't it, folks?
It's as easy as that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no, you're going to have to just go ahead and do that one. So. It's quite nerve-wracking, the open zone, isn't it?
It's a little nervous, yeah. Do you want me to talk through it at all?
No, I think you should concentrate.
Cool.
Now's the time to clap, folks. Yeah.
Thank you.
We love that. We love that. So now you're on the par 5, though. and there's a bunker at 310. Mm-hmm. I think 310 is probably a good...
Is it downwind? Because then it's a go.
It's a goer. It is a goer. So you're playing that par 5, you're trying to get there. What do you do? I mean, you're going to take it on. What do you do? You're going for a big one, you're trying to use the wind.
Trying to use, is it down off right, down off left?
Down off the right.
Down off right.
Picky, aren't you?
Probably, little high draw, trying to get the maximum amount of flight you can on it, ride the wind a little bit and carry that track.
How do you do that? Any changes with your setup?
So what I did with that low shot, ball goes a little bit back, feet go a little bit left, because if the ball goes back and you don't aim left, the club face aims right. And where the club face aims is where the ball's going to start.
A bit of deep playing action in the open zone. I love that. Yeah.
So for this one, ball position goes pretty standard, maybe a little bit further up towards the left toe.
Okay.
See that draw and
when you're trying to go for the big one, where do you turn the power on?
Definitely not from the top.
Right. Okay.
So sort of around impact. I don't think about it too much.
You heard that, folks, and you're not from the top.
Yeah. Try and sort of accelerate as you go down, but I'm not going to think about it too much. So let's see where it goes.
Let's see it, buddy. I didn't actually see that.
High draw, not bad.
That's beautiful.
Playing links golf, successful links golf, is all about trajectory control. If you haven't got control of your trajectory, you can go home, pack your bags and go home, because that's what you need to do playing links, especially if we get some wind that's forecast for this week. So to be able to control the height of it is #1 priority. And when you play links, you have to play it well. You have to use the ground. Most courses that we play, you got to fly it through the air. On links, you've got to use the ground. You've got to use some little slopes and help you move the ball into the hole, because you can't fly it on the greens and spin it and stop it like you can. So to hit the ball that little bit lower, to get it on the ground a little bit quicker and use those slopes and run it up to the hole and stuff, that's what links golf is all about.
Okay. So how would you go about hitting the lowest shot?
So
what do you do?
This is 7-iron, and if people would automatically think that, and rightly so, that if you want to hit the ball lower, you move it further back in your stance, because then you're coming in with the club a little bit de-lofted.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. I move it a little bit further back, but not too much. There's two other things that I do when I'm trying to hit a little knockdown shot. One is that I feel my swing is shorter. So I'm trying to feel as if I go from shoulder height to shoulder height.
Right.
And then that way the swing should be much more connected.
Yes.
Because you don't want club face rotation when you're trying to do that. That's not going to work, because the ball is going to have spin and then the wind's going to grab it. That's the other thing. And for me, the way that I've always done it, I've been fortunate. I grew up playing a lot of golf at Royal Portrush at home. And I've always tried to feel as if I hit the ball hard with my right shoulder. That's how I do it. I try and cover the ball this way. Very difficult. If your body stops this way, then you're not going to be able to keep control of the club face, too much speed, and the ball's going to go up in the air. So I get it a little bit further back in my stance. Get it here. So I'm a little bit down the shaft as well. Always go down the shaft when I'm trying to hit a little knockdown shot. But I get up here, and you'll see whenever I finish, I should be finished complete with my chest pointing minimum to the target, if not more. So I have to have a full turn.
But the arm swing shorter.
The arm swing shorter, because if I go this way, if my chest doesn't face left of my target, then my hands take over. That's what happens. It's something that you see with amateurs an awful lot. They don't make a full turn through.
Yeah.
Most amateurs will go this way first, and then because their weight's all backing up, they can't turn their chest through. And then the club's rising, and that's when you hit thin ones and heavy ones. So I'll just try and hit a little knockdown here. So this, my weight's pretty standard, but I'll turn and turn.
Still makes that same noise it always did, doesn't it, Darren?
But you can see where I finished here. I haven't moved away ahead of it to keep it. I've just basically hit it with my chest and gone that way, and that's the way you control it playing links.
Just finally, there's one more question. It looks like you hit it a little smoother as well.
Yeah.
How important is the spin rate on the ball, and is that the main reason you swing a bit smoother, because into that wind that's as important as the flight?
Yeah, exactly, because if you hit it harder with the strike that most of the pros that we put on it, professional golf, successful professional golf is all about hitting from high to low, so we're always hitting down the golf ball, whereas amateurs tend to go low
Yeah.
with a rising club head,
Yes.
which creates different sorts of strikes. But for us, because we're coming down and compressing the golf ball, the harder we hit it, the more spin we put on it.
Yeah.
So when you're going into the wind, you don't really want that spin, because if you have it, you see sometimes guys do hit a little bit too hard, and then you see a shot that goes out this way, goes up there and
Yes.
stalls in the wind and comes up maybe 20 yards short, and that's probably because they've hit it very well, but they've hit a little bit too hard, too much spin, wind grabs it. Wind's your enemy at times as well. Wind is very tough, because if you're taking the spin off it, you're trying to go a distance all the time, and the wind makes that more difficult.